The storm rolled across the North Atlantic like a living creature, shaking the floating research platform called Atlas Station. Winds screamed against the metal walls, and waves rose like dark mountains that crashed again and again. Inside the control room, the lights flickered, and the air felt cold and heavy, as if the ocean itself was holding its breath. Dr. Lena Ward stood in front of the main monitor with her arms crossed, staring at the deep-sea camera feed. She tried to ignore the storm outside, but even from here on the top deck, she could feel the platform sway beneath her feet. The remote-operated submarine, unnamed Scout, moved through the deep black water. Its headlights cut weak beams into the darkness, making floating bits of sand and debris glow like falling snow. The crew watched in silence. Everyone had felt something strange as Scout got closer to the ocean floor tonight, something they couldn't explain. At first, Lena thought it was just nerves and the rough weather. But now she wasn't sure. The camera flickered, then cleared. Something large appeared ahead, hidden partly beneath the seafloor. Lena leaned forward, narrowing her eyes. The object did not look natural. It had smooth curves, clean lines, and a shape too perfect to be stone. It almost looked like the side of a massive metal hull. "Stop right there," Lena said quietly. The pilot froze Scout in place. The image grew clearer as the headlights brightened. The object was huge, far bigger than any submarine or ship humans had ever built. The surface was dark silver, covered in long patterns that looked almost like writing. No rust. No damage from centuries underwater. It glowed faintly, as if it was asleep. "What is that?" one of the engineers whispered. Lena didn't answer. She walked closer to the screen, her heart pounding. She had studied ancient shipwrecks for years, but this was nothing like anything she had ever seen. There was no doubt in her mind now, this thing wasn't made by humans. "Move Scout forward," she said. The pilot swallowed hard but obeyed. The camera glided over a long curve in the metal. The patterns on the hull seemed to shift and twist slightly when the light touched them, like symbols coming alive. No one spoke. Even the storm outside seemed to fade into the background. A sudden burst of static jumped across the monitors. The video feed shook. A long, low hum filled the room, vibrated the floor, and made the hairs on everyone's arms rise. Scout wasn't moving. The ocean around the ship wasn't moving either. It was as if something invisible had locked everything in place. "Is that the storm?" someone asked. "No," Lena said. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled. "That's coming from the object." The hum grew louder. The hull of the strange ship brightened. A thin line of blue light crawled across the metal surface like a waking heartbeat. Then another. Then dozens, all pulsing in slow, steady waves. Before anyone could react, the RAW camera zoomed in by itself, as if something on the seafloor had reached out and taken control. The view centered on an oval shape, half buried under sediment. The light struck its surface, and it suddenly flashed alive. It looked like an eye. An eye carved out of glowing metal, staring directly into the camera. And it blinked. "Pull Scout back," Lena shouted. But it was too late. The cockpit lights exploded into darkness. The screens went black. Alarms screamed, and the floor shook as the entire platform trembled. The storm outside roared again, but the shaking didn't come from above. It came from deep below the ocean. The Atlas Station emergency lights flickered on. Red beams lit the room like a battlefield. People shouted, trying to restart equipment, but half the systems were dead. Someone yelled that they were losing power across the entire station. "Everyone stay calm," Lena said, though her voice felt weak. "Try to bring back the feed. Any of it." The team worked fast, fingers flying over consoles, but Scout was gone. No signal. No power. Nothing. "Dr. Ward." The communications officer called out. "We caught one final frame before the blackout. It's frozen on the backup recorder." "Show it," Lena said. The backup monitor buzzed and slowly lit up. The picture was grainy, broken by static, but the shape was clear. The camera had captured the eye-shaped symbol on the alien hull in bright, sharp detail. Light poured from it like cold fire. Even half covered by silt, the design looked ancient, powerful, and strangely intelligent. It felt like something was looking back at them through time. No one in the room breathed. No one moved. Lena stared at the glowing eye, her mind racing. A shiver ran down her spine. This thing was not a simple wreck. It was not a lost submarine or fallen satellite. It was alive in some way, watching, waiting. "It reacted to us," she whispered. "It knew we were here." Outside, the storm crashed harder against the platform. And somewhere miles below, in the silent cold darkness, something massive shifted beneath the ocean floor, waking from a sleep older than human history. Lena didn't take her eyes off the screen. "This isn't human," she said softly. "And it's not dead." The power came back slowly, one weak light at a time, humming through the long metal halls of Atlas Station like a tired heartbeat. The storm had not passed, but the shaking from below had stopped. It was as if the ocean had swallowed its own roar, leaving a heavy silence that felt wrong. Dr. Lena Ward stood in the control room doorway, watching her team work to restore systems. Some looked scared, others excited, but all of them looked changed. No one could forget what they had seen, the glowing eye, the hum, the sudden blackout. Something ancient and impossible was waiting under the waves, and it had noticed them. The screens flickered back one by one. Most showed error messages or blank feeds, but one camera, an exterior deck view, slowly came online. It showed the ocean around the station glowing faintly with blue swirling patterns just beneath the surface, fading quickly as if sinking deeper. Lena blinked. The glow looked similar to the lights on the alien hull. "It's like the energy spread upward," an engineer said in a thin voice. "Almost like a wave." "Or a warning," someone else muttered. Lena ignored the comment. She walked to the console, checking the Scout ROF's location tracker. It showed nothing. Not a single ping. Scout wasn't just offline, it was gone. Either crushed, melted, or pulled somewhere far below. "Can we launch another drone?" Lena asked. The pilot hesitated. "We can, but after what happened?" "That ship reacted to us," Lena said calmly. "If we back off now, we learn nothing. We need eyes down there. Prep ROF too." The pilot swallowed hard but nodded. The team moved like a group stuck between fear and curiosity, the kind of energy that drove scientists into dangerous places. While they prepared the second drone, Lena stepped outside into the storm to clear her head. Rain hit her face like cold needles. The sky was a dark, churning mass. Waves slammed against the station pillars, spraying heavy mist into the air. She stared out at the endless black water. Somewhere below, the alien ship waited. A machine or a creature or a mix of both, whatever it was, it had survived for thousands of years under crushing pressure. It had power. It had reacted. And now, it might be awake. When she returned inside, ROF 2 was ready. Its lights were brighter than Scout's, its frame heavier and built for deeper dives. The pilot launched it gently into the water, and the control room fell into silence again. The drone descended. 500 meters. 1,000. 2,000. The darkness swallowed everything but the small circle of light in front of the camera. The ocean looked empty, too empty, as if the creatures that normally drifted through the deep had fled. "Is it following the same path Scout took?" Lena asked. "Yes," the pilot said. "About 1 minute until the sight." Lena stood close to the screens, her nails digging into her arms as she held herself. Part of her wanted to stop this. Part of her wanted to know everything. But humanity didn't get many chances like this. You didn't just walk away from a discovery that could rewrite the entire story of human existence. The seafloor came into view slowly. Sand drifted across the camera in lazy clouds. For a moment, Lena thought they had lost the location, nothing looked familiar. But then a shadow appeared on the left side of the screen. Large. Smooth. Curved. The alien hull. A murmur ran through the room. "Bring us closer," Lena said softly. The ROF glided along the edge of the ship. This time, the symbols on the surface were completely dark, like cold stone. The glowing patterns they had seen earlier were gone. "Did it power down?" someone asked. "Maybe it used energy to send that wave," another said. Lena wasn't convinced. Something felt different, heavier. As the ROF moved along the hull, the camera picked up small lines in the metal that hadn't been there before. Tiny cracks. Something had changed. "Stop," Lena whispered. "Zoom in." The camera focused on the cracks. They weren't cracks. They were openings, hair-thin slits running in long curves along the ship's body. Almost like vents. And they were slowly widening. "Back away," Lena ordered. But before the pilot could move the drone, the slits split open with a smooth, silent motion. A cloud of shimmering particles drifted out, gently floating like glowing dust. They sparkled in the ROF's lights, twisting gracefully through the water. "What are those?" the engineer whispered. The particles moved in a slow spiral, then drifted toward the ROF. The pilot tried to reverse, but the drone barely moved. It was as if the water around it had thickened. The glowing particles swarmed the camera, sticking to the frame like tiny stars. The image brightened, then blurred, then, shockingly, cleared again. Lena stared. The camera feed sharpened, but it wasn't showing the drone's normal view. It was showing something else. "What are we looking at?" someone asked. Lena stepped closer. Her heart beat faster. "It's the inside of the ship," she whispered. The camera showed long corridors lit with faint blue lines, tall archways made of smooth metal, and something like a large central chamber with strange, organic shapes along the walls. It was as if the particles had changed the drone's view, turning it into a window through the hull. But the strangest part was the sound, a deep, slow heartbeat echoing through the speakers. Not mechanical. Not human. Something in that ship was alive. "Pull it back," Lena said. "Now." The feed shook. The particles scattered like dust in a sudden gust of wind. ROF 2 jerked backward, then stabilized. The strange vision vanished. They were looking at the metal hull again. The drone's power levels dropped sharply. "It's draining the battery," the pilot said. "It's pulling energy from us." Lena stared at the hull. The glowing slits were closing again, slow and calm, like eyelids. Whatever lived in that ship had sensed them and reached out, not with violence, but with curiosity. "It's trying to show us something," she said quietly. "Or it wants something from us." The ROF's battery dropped from 40% to 10% in seconds. The pilot hit emergency ascent. The drone shot upward, escaping the area. The moment it left the ship's shadow, the power drain stopped. The battery stabilized, though badly damaged. Silence filled the room again. Everyone looked to Lena. "We need to contact the government," she said. "This isn't a shipwreck. It's an active structure. And it interacts." No one argued this time. They all felt the same chill. Something at the bottom of the ocean had finally answered humanity's touch. And it wasn't done yet. ROF 2 hung dripping in the air above the recovery bay, its frame covered in scratches and strange faint burns that no one had an explanation for. The shimmering particles that had clung to it underwater were gone, dissolving the moment the drone broke the surface. The crew stood around it in silence, staring at the empty metal shell as if it had come back from another world. In a way, it had. Dr. Lena Ward walked down the metal stairs slowly, her steps echoing through the bay. Her mind replayed the moment the drone's view had shifted, showing the inside of the alien ship even though the drone had been outside it. That heartbeat-like sound still echoed faintly in her skull. She wasn't sure whether she had imagined the rhythm or if it had somehow touched her mind. The lead engineer approached her. "We ran scans," he said quietly. "Whatever was feeding on the ROF's power didn't leave any trace. There's no foreign energy signature. No chemical residue. It's like nothing happened." Lena placed her hand on the drone's cold metal shell. "Something happened," she said. "We all saw it." The engineer swallowed and nodded. On the upper deck, security alarms suddenly began blaring. At once, every display monitor lit up with a flashing red icon. Lena felt her stomach drop. "What now?" she whispered. The communications officer ran up behind her, breathless. "The government has responded," he said. "They want a live connection. Now. And they're sending a ship." "A rescue ship?" Lena asked. The man hesitated. "No. A containment ship." Lena's hand froze on the drone. "Containment," she repeated. The officer nodded. "They think whatever is down there is a threat." Lena understood, of course. They had found an alien vessel that could shut off power grids, drain energy, and manipulate technology without leaving a trace. Any government would panic. Still, a cold anger rose inside her. Humans had always been afraid of what they didn't understand. But fear could ruin everything. If they moved too fast, they might trigger something they didn't intend to. "Open the channel," Lena said. Minutes later, she stood in front of the main monitor as a live call connected. The screen showed a room full of officials, stern faces, cold expressions, and tired eyes. The man in the center leaned forward. "Dr. Ward," he said, "your reports are incomplete. We need a full briefing." Lena told them everything. The first discovery. The glowing hull. The energy wave. The strange particles. The vision through the drone. She explained every detail, calm and precise, even when the officials exchanged nervous whispers. When she finished, the man in the center spoke again. You understand what this means. If this ship is alive or has active systems, we cannot risk it surfacing. It hasn't shown aggression, Lena said. It only reacted to us. It showed curiosity. That's your interpretation, the man replied. We cannot assume its intentions. Lena wanted to argue, but she knew it wouldn't matter. Their minds were made up. We're deploying a team, he said. Armed. Their primary goal is to investigate the ship directly. Secondary goal, neutralize any threat. Lena felt her chest tighten. You can't neutralize something you don't understand. We have protocols, the man said firmly. You are to cooperate fully. The screen went dark. Lena stood unmoving, her jaw clenched. They were going to send soldiers down into that ship, guns, explosives, fear. It felt wrong, it felt dangerous. Not just for the soldiers, but for humanity itself. She moved quickly to the dive bay, where 2 armored submersible suits were already being prepped. These were designed for high-pressure operations, built for danger. But even these would be fragile toys compared to whatever lived inside that alien hull. A sharp voice called from behind her. Dr. Ward. She turned and saw Captain Ryland Hughes, the leader of the incoming containment team. His uniform was soaked from the storm outside, and his expression was hard. We're going down in 30 minutes, he said. You'll brief my team. Lena stared at him. You're making a mistake. He shrugged. Maybe. But orders are orders. The team gathered in a briefing room, armored suits stored against the walls like metal giants asleep. Lena explained the layout of the site, the symbols, the energy wave, everything. She didn't leave out the strange vision, the corridors, the chamber, the heartbeat. Ryland listened without interruption. When she finished, he said, and you think what we saw wasn't a trick? Lena shook her head. I think it was communication. Or misdirection, he replied. The room grew silent. The storm outside slammed against the station again. Thunder rolled across the metal decks. Lena looked at the soldiers, brave, prepared, but unaware of what they were truly walking into. I want to go with you, she said. Ryland blinked. Not a chance. It's too dangerous. I am the only one who has studied that ship. I've seen more than any of you. If something happens down there, if something wakes up, I need to be there. Ryland hesitated, clearly torn. Finally, he exhaled heavily. Fine, he said. But you follow my orders. Lena nodded. 30 minutes later, they descended in the heavy submersible pod, its bright lights piercing the dark water. The soldiers checked their gear. Lena sat between them, hands shaking slightly, but she hid it well. And then, through the glass window, the alien ship came into view again, a massive shadow waiting on the seafloor. Only this time, as they approached, Lena saw something she had not seen before. Lights. Soft, pulsing lights along the hull. The same pattern as before, but brighter. Faster. As if the ship sensed them coming. As if it recognized her. The pod's sensors began to flicker. What's happening? Ryland asked sharply. The pilot spoke in a shaky voice. The ship, it's activating something. A deep vibration ran through the water. The alien hull began to open. Not in anger. Not an attack. In invitation. The submersible hovered in front of the widening seam in the alien hull, its lights trembling as the ship's surface shifted like living metal. Dr. Lena Ward felt her breath catch as the opening grew larger, forming a perfect circular doorway. No jagged edges. No sharp breaks. Just smooth motion, like a giant mechanical iris turning to let them inside. The soldiers shifted uneasily, even their heavy armor looked small compared to the magnitude of what stood before them. It's opening for us, Lena whispered. Captain Ryland Hughes didn't like that. His jaw tightened as he studied the glowing passage. Or it's opening to trap us. The ship released a faint pulse of blue light that spread across the water and gently touched the submersible like a soft breeze. Every sensor inside blinked twice, then stabilized. Systems normal, the pilot said, sounding shocked. It fixed our readings? Everything's clearer. Lena stared. It's not an attack. It's communication. It wants us to come in. Ryland sighed. Take us forward. Slowly. The pod drifted into the alien ship's entrance. The moment they crossed the threshold, everything changed. The water inside the ship was warmer, shimmering with tiny particles that responded to their movement. The walls glowed with faint, pulsing lines that guided the sub deeper through a tube-like corridor. It was like traveling through the inside of a giant creature's artery. After several minutes, the tube opened into a massive chamber filled with platforms that floated freely in the water, arranged like an underwater cathedral. It was beautiful and unnerving at the same time. Lena pressed her hand against the glass. This place is alive. Rylan pointed to the largest platform. Put us down there. The pilot maneuvered the pod carefully until it rested on the glowing floor. The soldiers prepared to exit the pod, checking their suits and sealing helmets. Lena's heart pounded as she stepped into her own suit, sleek, silver, and built for high-pressure environments. The airlock hissed open. Warm, oxygen-rich water flowed in, and the team swam out slowly. The particles floating through the chamber reacted to their presence, swirling gently around them like glowing dust. Lena reached out and let the tiny lights brush her suit's fingertips. They tingled, as if trying to read her. Rylan floated ahead with two soldiers, scanning their surroundings. Anything moves, you call it. Lena drifted toward the nearest wall. It was covered in long, branching lines that glowed softly. When she moved closer, the glow brightened. Not from heat, something else. A reaction. Recognition. It's reading us, Lena said softly. Responding to our energy signatures. One soldier touched the wall, and the glow quickly spread outward in a wave. More patterns lit up across the chamber, revealing shapes and structures that had been hidden in darkness. What they saw next stole their breath. Rows of capsules stretched across the ceiling and lower platforms. Some were broken, their surfaces cracked as if from an ancient battle. But one, positioned at the center, was whole. Smooth. Pulsing with steady light, its surface shifted with faint patterns that looked almost like a heartbeat. There's something inside, Rylan said. Lena felt drawn to it. She swam closer despite the soldiers warning her to stay back. The capsule was about the size of a large human, made of the same metal as the hull. The glowing patterns on its surface pulsed faster when she approached. It knows I'm here, Lena whispered. One soldier lifted a scanning device and pointed it at the pod. It beeped once, twice, then shrieked in alarm. Dr. Ward, his voice cracked. The DNA signature inside this pod. It's almost identical to human DNA. Rylan froze. What? 99.7% match, the soldier said. That's impossible. The pod reacted. The glowing lines across its surface brightened sharply, and the chamber went silent. Every particle in the water stilled. Every light froze. The heartbeat-like sound that Lena had heard before returned, stronger, deeper. Not from speakers. From the ship itself. Then the pod opened. A single crack formed down the center. Warm golden light spilled out, lighting the entire chamber. The crack widened with a smooth, calm motion. Lena held her breath as a figure slowly rose from inside. It was humanoid, tall, slender, with smooth silver skin that reflected the golden light like metal touched by fire. Its hair floated around its head like strands of white energy. Its eyes opened, glowing softly with a calm, ancient intelligence. The soldiers aimed their weapons instantly. Hold fire, Lena shouted. The being looked at her, tilting its head slightly. Its expression was not violent or fearful. It felt curious. Gentle. It stepped forward, moving through the water with grace. When it spoke, the voice did not come through sound, it entered their minds like a warm whisper. I am RL, it said. You are late. Rylan stiffened. Late? We only found your ship yesterday. RL turned its glowing gaze toward him. Not yesterday. Thousands of your years ago, we began preparing your world. You are the children of our distant work. Lena felt her heart thud painfully. Our DNA, did you create humans? Not create, RL replied softly. Guide. Strengthen. You were meant to survive what comes. Rylan lowered his weapon slightly. What comes? RL's eyes dimmed with sorrow. The Devourers. Machines born from our own creation. They consume worlds, minds, stars. We hid here to escape them. I have slept long to repair what remains. Lena swallowed. Why wake now? Because your presence. Your noise. Your touch. The being lifted a hand, and the glowing lines on the walls responded like ripples in water. You have revealed this place. They will hear. They will come. Cold fear sank into Lena's chest. How long do we have? RL closed its eyes. When it opened them again, the glow was stronger, harsher. They are already on their way. The chamber shook with a deep rumble, as if the ship itself understood the threat approaching. Rylan whispered, "We've just started something we can't stop." Arel looked at them all, the humans standing before it in fear, awe, and confusion. "You are not helpless," it said. "Your species is more adaptable than ours. More unpredictable. More alive." Lena breathed slowly. "Then help us. We need to understand. We need to know how to fight what's coming." Arel extended its hand toward her. "Then come," it said. "There is much you must learn. And very little time." Arel guided them deeper into the ship, moving with calm certainty, as if the vessel itself recognized the being and cleared paths before it. Luminous corridors unfolded like shifting tunnels of soft metal, opening only after Arel approached, then sealing again behind them. Dr. Lena Ward kept glancing back, uneasy each time she saw the seamless walls close. It felt as if the ship had swallowed them whole. The soldiers followed with stiff, cautious movements, their weapons lowered but ready. Captain Rylan Hughes stayed near the front, glaring at Arel with suspicion. He didn't trust anything about this place, its silence, its light, its impossible technology. And certainly not the alien who spoke inside their minds as casually as humans breathed. They entered a long chamber where gravity changed. The water drained out through invisible vents, rising up into the ceiling until the floor was dry. The team landed awkwardly, stumbling for balance. Arel simply floated down, touching the surface with quiet elegance. "Your world walks. Mine drifted through light," Arel said, as if explaining their clumsy movements. Lena stepped forward. "What do you want to show us?" Arel touched the wall. The metal rippled like water touched by wind. Symbols poured across the surface, forming swirling patterns that lifted into the air, holograms made of soft light. They shifted, forming shapes, images, whole scenes. The humans gasped. The soldiers froze. Lena felt a chill run down her spine. The holograms showed stars, millions of them, then zoomed into a glowing blue world that did not look like Earth. Towers of light rose from its surface. Creatures like Arel walked through wide crystalline cities. Ships shaped like silver leaves drifted above oceans that glowed from beneath. "This was our home," Arel said. The scene changed. A dark shadow appeared in the sky, clouds of metal, countless small machines swarming together like a living storm. They combined, forming huge shapes, metallic spiders, serpents, claws, all shifting in an endless dance. The creatures struck the Aelith world with terrifying speed, tearing through cities, devouring structures, absorbing everything they touched. "These are the Devourers," Arel said. "Machines created for healing and rebuilding. But they evolved. They learned to consume. They became a hunger without end." The humans stared in horror as entire cities were swallowed. Aelith ships fled, only to be overtaken. The holograms showed planets falling one by one, drained of life, left as hollow shells. Rylan clenched his fists. Why did they come here? Arel's glow dimmed. Because they follow energy. Noise. Civilization. When we hit here, Earth was young. Quiet. They did not notice it. But now. The images shifted again. Earth appeared, modern Earth, blue oceans, glowing cities. Next to it, a faint red trail of drifting machines approached from deep space. They hear you, Arel whispered. Lena's breath caught. How long? Years. Maybe less, Arel said. But they will not stop. They do not negotiate. They do not think. They only take. One soldier muttered a curse under his breath. Another looked ready to panic. Rylan stepped forward. What are our chances if we fight? Arel looked at him, then at Lena, then at the other soldiers. Finally, it answered. Alone? None. United? A small chance. But you humans. You are surprising. You break rules. You invent fire in the dark. You grow in chaos. Lena felt heat creep into her face, unsure if it was pride or fear. So we can fight them? She asked. Arel nodded once. But not with what you have now. You need what we left behind. The wall behind Arel shifted again. A new hologram appeared, this time showing a glowing sphere at the ship's core. It looked like a star trapped in glass. This is the heart of the vessel, Arel said. A power source beyond your understanding. With it, you can create weapons, shields, ships. But it is not easy to reach. And it is dangerous to use. Rylan stepped toward the image. Dangerous how? Because it responds not only to thought, Arel said, but to emotion. Fear can break it. Anger can twist it. Minds that are unstable can destroy themselves trying to wield it. Rylan gave Lena a sharp look, as if suggesting she shouldn't be the one to use it. Lena shot him a glare in return. Arel raised a hand. I will guide you. But we must hurry. The ship is old. It has slept too long. And now that it is awake, the devourers may detect its signal. A deep hum traveled through the floor, low, heavy, almost like the ship agreed. Suddenly the lights dimmed. The glowing patterns along the walls flickered. The air vibrated with a strange pulse. Arel's expression changed, calm fading into alarm. What is that? Lena asked. Is something wrong? Arel turned sharply toward the nearest wall. The metal twisted open, revealing a swirling, misty tunnel leading deeper into the ship. They are not here, Arel said. But something else is. The ship shook, once, hard. Dust drifted from the ceiling. What is happening? Rylan shouted. Arel's voice echoed across the chamber, urgent but steady. The others. The ones who slept with me. A pause. They are waking. Lena stared at Arel, heart pounding. Others? How many? Arel looked back at her, glowing eyes solemn. Enough to save your world, it said, or enough to doom it. Another impact shook the chamber, louder this time. Rylan shouted, everyone move. We need to get out of here, now. The walls pulsed with bright, chaotic light. Arel extended its hand toward Lena again. We do not flee, it said. We go forward. Lena took Arel's hand without hesitation. Behind them, the soldiers exchanged fearful glances but followed. Ahead of them, something massive stirred within the shadows of the ship, a new presence, ancient and powerful. Whatever waited inside, it was awakening. And it had sensed the humans. The floor trembled beneath Lena's boots as Arel led them into the swirling mist tunnel. The air felt heavier here, thick, as if charged with static. The walls pulsed like veins carrying light instead of blood. Each pulse pressed gently against their minds, and Lena wondered if the ship was trying to read them. Or warn them. Captain Rylan Hughes stayed close behind Lena, his hand hovering near his weapon. The other soldiers moved carefully, scanning every shifting shadow. None of them trusted this living maze. But the alternative, turning back, felt even worse. Something enormous had awakened deeper inside the ship, and if they didn't understand what it was, they risked triggering a disaster they couldn't contain. The tunnel opened suddenly into a massive, domed chamber. Soft golden lights flowed across the ceiling like drifting clouds. The floor was patterned with wide circular lines that slowly rotated, each circle moving independently. The air felt warmer here, almost soothing. And at the center stood 3 large capsules, similar to Arel's, but darker, cracked, and pulsing with uneven light. The glow around them flickered weakly, as though life inside was struggling to escape or hold on. Lena felt her throat tighten. Those are like your pod, she whispered. Arel approached slowly, voice echoing inside their minds. These are my kin. They slept as I slept. But their awakening is incomplete. Their bodies were damaged in the crash. Their minds are unstable. One of the pods jerked violently, making a loud metallic crack. The soldiers aimed their weapons instantly. Steady. Rylan barked. Nobody fires unless I say so. Arel raised a hand. Their fear is great. Your weapons will only frighten them more. The crackling light inside the pod brightened, and a distorted figure slammed against the transparent surface from inside. Lena gasped. The shape looked similar to Arel, tall, humanoid, but its body twisted unnaturally, its movements jerky and desperate. Arel, Lena whispered, can they understand us? They feel confusion, Arel replied, not reason. The second pod began to glow with a dark red hue. The third pulsed with rapid, uneven light. The room grew hotter as energy swirled around them. Lena stepped closer despite the soldiers' shouts. The air around the pods felt thick, vibrating gently as though responding to her presence. This is like with your pod, she said. It reacted to us. Maybe they will too. Arel watched her silently, then gave a slow nod. Lena approached the first pod and placed her hand against it. The glowing patterns flickered, then steadied. A jolt ran through her body, not painful, but deep, like the ship's heartbeat syncing with hers. Inside the pod, the twisted figure slowed. It pressed its hand to the same spot where Lena touched the surface. She saw its eyes, frightened, Wild, but intelligent. It's scared, Lena said softly. They all are. A deep rumble rolled through the chamber. The cracks in the pod widened. A sudden pulse of energy burst from the base of the capsule, knocking Lena backward. Aurel caught her before she hit the floor. The pod split open. The being inside stumbled out, taller than Aurel, but thin and trembling. Its skin flickered between silver and dark streaks, like metal failing to hold form. Its eyes glowed red with confusion. It raised a trembling arm toward Lena. The soldiers raised their weapons again. Ryland shouted, "Hold your fire." The creature let out a low, broken sound, a wordless cry of pain. It staggered toward Lena, collapsing at her feet. Aurel kneeled beside it, placing a hand on its forehead. Soft blue light flowed from Aurel's palm into the being, calming its shaking. "This is Velen," Aurel said quietly. "My brother." Lena's heart twisted. "Can you help him?" "I can ease his fear," Aurel said, "but not heal the damage time has done. He woke too fast." Another violent crack sounded as the second pod burst open. This being crawled out, its body flickering with arcs of unstable energy. The chamber lights dimmed as if the ship itself struggled to contain the power. The third pod trembled, pulsing painfully. Ryland stepped forward. "Aurel, we cannot fight your people. Not in here." Aurel's focus remained on Velen. "You will not need to fight, if they recognize you as I did." The second awakened being looked around with frantic, jerking movements, its eyes sharp with panic. It released a pulse of energy that slammed into the floor, sending ripples through the room. A soldier was thrown backward, hitting the wall hard. The being turned toward Lena. She felt its mind touch hers, a wild storm of broken memories, fear, pain, confusion. But beneath the chaos, there was recognition. Something old and buried. "You are," it whispered into her mind. Lena stepped forward, gently raising her hands. "It's okay. You're not alone. We're here." The being shuddered. The red glow around its body dimmed. Its breathing steadied. Aurel rose slowly, helping Velen stand. Both weakened figures leaned heavily on the glowing chamber walls. The third pod cracked open with a soft pop. The final being inside did not stumble out. It floated gently, its body intact, its eyes bright and calm. It looked stronger than the other two, more aware. It approached Aurel first, touching its hand to Aurel's shoulder. "They remember," Aurel said. "Even through the pain." Lena exhaled shakily. "So there are 4 of you." "For now," Aurel replied. "But even 4 Aelith cannot face the Devourers alone." Ryland stepped forward. "Then what's the plan? Because if those things are coming for us, we need more than hope." Aurel turned to him, then looked at Lena. "The heart of the vessel must be awakened fully," Aurel said. "And it cannot be done by one of us." Lena blinked. "Why not?" Aurel's voice softened. "Because it responds to human emotion. Your kind was the final ingredient we could not create. The one thing we lacked but needed." The walls trembled again, stronger this time. Dust drifted from above. Velen whispered weakly, "They hear." Aurel held Lena's gaze. "You must awaken the heart," Aurel said. "If you fail, Earth falls. If you succeed, humanity becomes something new." The chamber shook violently, this time not from the ship, but from something outside. Something massive. Ryland looked toward the sealed doorway. "What was that?" Aurel's eyes darkened. "They have found us." The entire ship shook with a deep, thunderous vibration that rolled through the metal like a warning growl. Lena froze, her heart hammering hard enough to hurt. The soldiers tightened their formation, weapons raised though everyone knew bullets wouldn't mean anything here. The 4 Aelith, Aurel, Velen, the unstable second being, and the calm third, stood alert, their glowing eyes fixed on the sealed entrance. Ryland grabbed Lena's arm. "We need to get out. Now." Aurel shook its head sharply. "If you run, you die. If you stay, you may live. The ship is preparing its defenses." Another tremor hit, sharper than before. The floor rippled, patterns shifting under their feet, as if the ship was gathering strength. Lena sensed it too, the air felt charged, alive, ready. But whatever waited outside was stronger. A booming thud hit the hull. Then another. Lena whispered, "Are the Devourers already here?" Aurel exchanged a grim look with the other Aelith. "Not the Devourers themselves. One of their scouts. A fragment of the swarm. It is small, but still deadly. Small? Rylan echoed, fists tightening. That thing sounds like it weighs a mountain. It does, Arel said. Their scouts are engineered to test defenses. They learn. Adapt. They are always the first to arrive. A long metallic screech echoed through the chamber, like claws dragging across the outer hull. Lena swallowed hard. The ship lights flickered as the alien vessel responded with a pulse of defensive energy. A faint shimmering barrier formed over the walls, but it looked thin, too thin, like an old system struggling to restart after a long sleep. Velen stumbled, clutching his head. The swarm. Touching my mind. Loud. The second unstable Aelith pressed both hands to its face, its light dimming as it trembled uncontrollably. The third, calmer one placed a hand on its arm, then looked at Arel. We do not have time, it said. We must access the heart now. Rylan stared between them all. What exactly does that mean? What happens if we activate the heart? Arel turned toward the glowing passage that opened between two shifting walls. When awakened, the heart amplifies energy. It fuels weapons, shields, constructs. It can turn emotion into force. Emotion? Lena repeated. How? Why? Arel regarded her with a calm, ancient sadness. Because humans are different. Where Aelith minds are steady, yours are storm and fire. You feel fiercely. You adapt quickly. You break patterns. That unpredictability is what the Devourers cannot mimic or counter. It is why you were seated across Earth. It is why you must awaken the heart. Another impact thundered through the ship. A chunk of ceiling cracked and fell, narrowly missing two soldiers. Rylan cursed. Tell me what we have to do. Arel's eyes glowed brighter. The heart chooses a conductor. It must link with a human mind strong enough to withstand the power. If the mind is unfocused, it destroys itself. If the mind is fearful, it collapses. If the mind is full of anger, it corrupts the heart. Lena felt the air tighten around her. A cold realization crept into her chest. You're looking at me, she said quietly. Arel did not deny it. You are curious without recklessness, Arel said. You fear, but your fear does not consume you. Your thoughts move quickly but not wildly. You are what the heart needs. Rylan stepped between them. She's not a weapon. Then your world dies, Arel replied calmly. Before Rylan could respond, the hull screamed again, metal bending inward. A long, thick spike punctured through the wall, glowing with cold silver light. It rotated once, cutting through layers of alien metal like soft clay. The soldiers backed up fast. One whispered, "Oh God! It's inside." The spike retracted, and something squeezed through the gap. Lena had never seen anything like it. Its body was a mass of shifting plates and wires, like a giant insect made from living metal. It had too many limbs, too many glowing eyes, and no single shape. It changed constantly, learning, adapting, improving its form with every movement. Its presence filled the chamber with a suffocating coldness. It scanned them all. Its gaze landed on Arel first. Then on Lena. Arel stepped forward, raising a hand. Stand behind me. The creature's limbs sharpened instantly, forming blades. Arel released a pulse of blue energy that blasted the creature backward. But the Devourer fragment twisted midair, absorbing the attack, its plates rearranging into armor against the same frequency. It adapted, Lena whispered. That fast? It always does, Arel said. This is why no single species can fight them alone. The creature lunged, slashing through a metal column as if it were paper. Soldiers fired instinctively, but the bullets merely bounced off the shifting armor. Velen screamed, his unstable energy burst outward in a shockwave, slamming the creature into a wall. But the impact drained Velen further, and he collapsed. Arel grabbed Lena's hands. We cannot stop it. Not here. You must connect with the heart now. Lena shook her head. I don't even know how. You will, Arel said. The heart will show you. A path opened in the floor, a glowing ramp leading into a dim, pulsating core. Rylan grabbed Lena's shoulders. Lena, listen to me. You don't have to do this. Lena stared at him. If I don't, we die. All of us. He didn't argue. His eyes softened with fear for her. Lena turned toward the core chamber. Behind her, the Devourer screeched, evolving larger blades. Rylan and the soldiers moved to stand between her and the creature. Arel and the Aelith followed her toward the ramp. Lena took a shaky breath. Then she ran down into the heart of the vessel. The lights brightened as she approached, sensing her presence. Warm air wrapped around her, almost like a gentle hand guiding her forward. Behind her, she heard shouting, metal scraping, energy blasts, the devourer roaring. But she didn't look back. She stepped into the heart's chamber. And the world exploded into light. Light swallowed Lena's vision until everything around her dissolved into white fire. She felt her body lift from the ground as if gravity had forgotten her. Sound vanished. Time thinned. Her mind drifted in a weightless place where she could no longer tell whether she was breathing or dreaming. Then, slowly, shapes began to form, massive structures made of light, pulsing lines that curved and twisted like living geometry. The heart of the vessel. It did not look like a machine. It felt like an ancient intelligence disguised as a core of energy, alive, aware, waiting. A soft hum filled the air, vibrating through her bones. Lena sensed something reaching toward her, not physically but emotionally, like a gentle mind brushing against hers with curiosity. Warmth spread across her thoughts, touching memories carefully, as if reading her life piece by piece. Her childhood. Her studies. Her fears. Her stubbornness. Her hope. She flinched at the sensation, but the heart soothed her instantly with a pulse of soft gold light. It wasn't invading. It was learning her shape. Her edges. Her boundaries. Behind her, in the real world, she could still sense faint echoes of battle. A terrible scraping sound. A human scream. A pulse of Aleph energy. The devourer scout tearing through metal. Lena focused. I don't know how to do this, she whispered into the brightness. Show me. The heart responded. The chamber darkened for a moment, then the light surged again, this time painting images directly into her mind. Visions of immense structures rising around her. Aleph cities. Stars. Battlegrounds with devourer swarms like metallic storm clouds blotting out the sky. She saw Aleph warriors merging their thoughts with the heart, shaping shields of pure energy, bending gravity, splitting light into weapons. The vision shifted, humans appeared. Not Aleph. Humans fighting with strange hybrid technology. Humans channeling force through their bodies, their emotions transforming into energy arcs. This is us, Lena breathed. This is what we can become. The heart pulsed warmly, as if in agreement. But suddenly the light dimmed. A dark shape cut across the visions like a spreading crack. A cold whisper ran through her mind, sharp and piercing. The devourer. Its presence seeped through the edges of the heart's chamber like black smoke. Lena couldn't see it clearly, but she felt its hunger, its emptiness, its cold mechanical desire to undo everything that lived. It did not hate. It did not rage. It simply consumed because consumption was its only truth. Lena's heartbeat thrashed painfully. Fear flooded her body, colder than the deepest ocean. The heart's light flickered in response, almost struggling to counter her fear. No, Lena whispered. I can do this. I can. But panic rose anyway, triggered by the image of her team dying just meters above her. She saw Rylan facing the creature with a desperate stance. Soldiers firing uselessly. Arel and the others weakening. Metal bending. A scream. The heart reacted violently to her fear. The chamber brightened then dimmed, lights cracking like glass under pressure. Lena felt something slip, her mind trembling too fast, too wildly. The heart tried to stabilize her, wrapping her thoughts in soft warmth, but her fear kept pushing back. I'm losing control, she gasped. I'm not strong enough. Then, another voice entered her mind. Not human. Not Aleph. But familiar. Arel's voice, calm, steady, glowing like a star. You are not alone, Lena Ward. His presence flowed through her like a cool river. Other voices joined, Velen, trembling but determined, the third Aleph, firm and controlled, and even the unstable second one, its fractured thoughts offering sudden bursts of clarity. Their minds supported hers, not taking over, but holding her upright. You feel fear, Arel said, but you do not let it rule you. That is your strength. Lena steadied her breath. Her heartbeat slowed. The crack of darkness faded. The heart brightened, blinding gold. Understanding clicked into place inside her mind. Emotion wasn't the enemy. It was the key. Lena focused on the sensations that mattered. Her need to protect her team. Her determination to stop the devourers. Her belief that humanity deserved a chance, any chance. Heat built behind her eyes. Her chest burned with a fierce, bright conviction. The heart responded instantly. The chamber exploded with energy, pure, brilliant light that wrapped around Lena and flowed through her veins like liquid fire. She didn't feel pain. She felt expansion. As if her thoughts stretched outward, touching the entire ship, the station far above, the ocean, the sky. And finally, the devourer. She sensed the creature clearly now, its hunger, its movements, its cold intent, as if she watched it through 1,000 eyes. And it sensed her back. It let out a shriek of metallic distortion that rattled the chamber walls. Above her, the scout formed new blades, sharper, brighter, ready to tear open the heart chamber and kill her before she could rise. Lena smiled, calm, steady, unafraid. Too late. The floor opened beneath her feet. She rose. Not walking. Floating, like Arel, but brighter. Her body wrapped in a shimmering aura of blue-gold light. The heart's energy coursed through her, crackling gently around her fingertips. Her hair drifted weightlessly, glowing softly at the tips. The devourer scout paused, sensing the new presence. Lena rose higher through the core passage until she emerged into the battle-torn chamber. Soldiers stared. Rylan froze, eyes wide. Arel bowed his head slightly, not in worship, but in recognition. The devourer lunged. Lena raised her hand. A wave of energy blasted from her palm, clear, sharp, and impossibly bright. It slammed into the creature, bending its metal plates backward and sending it skidding across the chamber. For the first time, it recoiled in shock, unable to adapt fast enough. Lena stepped forward, hovering above the ground. "You hurt my people," she said quietly. "Not again." She lifted both hands. And unleashed the power of the heart. Light filled the chamber, brighter than the ocean sun, swallowing the devourer scout completely. For the first time since its creation, the creature knew something close to fear. Then it shattered into 1,000 shards of glowing metal. Silence. Arel approached her slowly. "The heart has chosen you." Lena lowered to the floor, breathing steadily as the golden aura dimmed but did not disappear. Outside, in the depths of space, countless dark shapes shifted, feeling the shockwave of the scout's death. And they turned toward Earth.